The
Menstrual
Cycle.
by
Jakob.
Katka.
And Olivka.
Okay. Hi. So I'm going to talk about around the first 5 days of the cycle. And day 1 of the cycle is marked by the blood flow from the female's vagina, and the cycle itself is usually around 28 days. And so on this first day of the cycle, the lining of the uterus, called the endometrium, begins to shed, which you can see here. You can see that this is one cycle, and here are around the 5 first days, and you can see that the lining is thinning, it's shedding, it's breaking. So the menstrual flow, the blood flow, typically occurs for around 5 days. And in biological terms, this blood flow is the release of hormones called FSH and LH from the pituitary gland due to the release of the G and RH hormone from the hypothalamus prior to that. All of this happens as a result of low levels of progesterone and estrogen in the female's body, as you can see on this diagram. Estrogen is quite low. It is very low. Estrogen and progesterone, and they begin to increase around this time. And so the release of the FSH hormone causes an increase in estrogen levels because the body prepares for pregnancy, and estrogen is a hormone that causes breasts to grow, the pelvis to widen, and for external genitals to develop. After the levels of estrogen increase, the hypothalamus signals for the release of the LH hormone, which causes one of the egg-containing follicles to burst and release an ovum for possible fertilization. So here you can see that the LH hormone levels are low, and then the FSH hormone is released and it is high, and then the estrogen levels begin to increase, and so do the LH hormone levels. So this is around day 1 to 5 of the cycle.
I will be talking about the ovulation, so the ovulatory phase. And ovulation is the release of the mature egg from the surface of the ovary, and this generally occurs after the first phase, so after the follicular phase, and it takes around 2 weeks, so before menstruation starts. And the FSH hormones cause the maturation of the follicles in the ovaries. So dominant follicle develops an ovum, so that's called the egg, and it sets it off into the cycle, and the cycle continues through the fallopian tube, which takes about 3 to 4 days, to the uterus, and then when the uterus, as you can see on this picture, along into the uterus, and this is where the uterus lining starts to thicken, and as estrogen increases. Wait a moment here. We have this here. This is where the lining starts to thicken, and this is where estrogen starts to increase, as well as FSH levels and LH levels, and we can see here around day 6 or 7, the estrogen increases as well, which triggers the actual ovulation. So as the egg travels through the fallopian tube into the uterus, it has a maximum life of 24 hours until it degenerates or it gets fertilized. Also, so if it's fertilized, the luteal phase begins.
Like you actually refer to everything.
So after the 15th day, the ovulation ends, and the follicle transforms into a corpus luteum, which produces estrogen and a large amount of progesterone, which then becomes the predominant hormone, and it makes the thickened endometrium suitable for the implantation of the embryo. The progesterone signals the hypothalamus and pituitary glands to suppress FSH and LH, and this ensures that no more follicles will mature. around the 23rd day, if no fertilization happens, then the corpus luteum deteriorates and the production of progesterone stops. If fertilization has occurred, the corpus luteum continues to produce progesterone, and this is then overtaken by the placenta, an organ which nourishes the growing fetus of a successful pregnancy. If a woman becomes pregnant, the egg moves into her uterus and attaches to the lining. If the woman does not become pregnant, the lining of the uterus breaks down around the 26th day, and this will cause a decrease in progesterone, as mentioned before, and the cycle begins again around the 28th day.
All right, that's everything. So
Thank you.
thank you.